Ladies and gentlemen, there is a major kidnapping case in Johor Bahru, and that got me a lot of messages from everybody telling me how dangerous JB is. Let's take a look at the case and let's do an evaluation. This has a strong implication to people staying in Malaysia and also a strong implication to people who are staying in Singapore that intend to go into Malaysia. Let's watch on, shall we? The title of my talk today is Kidnappers Strike Again in JB. Now, clearly, this means that this probably is not the only case. And also, let's take a look at other cases before I give you my reflection of what to do in JB. In this recent case that happened over the last 2 days, there is a Johor businessman that was kidnapped, and the family paid the kidnappers more than 6 million Singapore dollars to secure the release of the Johor businessman. And that's a lot of money, right? And this is the case in detail, okay? It's a Chinese businessman, 59 years old. It's a property developer. He was scheduled to go on a business trip, and at about 5 a.m. on Sunday, on 13 October, incidentally my birthday, he was being kidnapped. He was about to put on his shoes outside his house before calling for his ride to Senai Airport, where three men suddenly clad in face masks appeared. One of them hit him on the stick, okay, and the one covered his head with a cloth, enforcing a gunpoint. So there is a gun involved. The kidnappers then left a handphone outside his house. The victim was then transferred to unknown places. After 10 minutes, he was uncovered and contacted his family via the phone, demanding a 30 million ringgit ransom. So it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And clearly, this is not a trivial case. Okay, how was he released? Well, simple, right? The family paid the ransom, and the ransom was being negotiated down to $20 million. The family managed to gather first 5 million ringgit, which they deposit at the residential area in Taman Perling. Taman Perling is near the second link. And the remaining amount was wired through an acquaintance in Singapore. I was surprised they used wiring. Wiring is quite easy to trace, right? So from kidnapping to the release, 14 hours, very fast. The victim reported the police that he was held by 4 kidnappers, including a woman, and the nationality were unknown. Now, clearly, right, these kidnappers know who to target, because not many people have 20 million ringgit to give as a ransom. So this tycoon is not a nobody. It's a well-known property developer who have previously completed a major land deal in KL Golden Triangle area. I don't know what's Golden Triangle area, but yeah, he has completed a major land deal. Despite his wealth, the tycoon is known for dressing casually in short sleeve t-shirt, shorts, and slippers, and maintain a low profile. So by looking at the property developer, you probably can't tell he's very rich, but clearly he is rich, which also means that this is an insider. People have actually known him. So with diversified business interests, he frequently traveled between JB and KL for businesses. Clearly, kidnapping is a major concern for anybody, especially those people in Malaysia. And I think this is something that we all should be concerned, whether in Singapore or Malaysia. Now, for Singaporeans, all you all are terrified because kidnapping is literally unheard of. I think the last case of a kidnapping is probably the Seng Siong family, which was a case. And kidnapping in Singapore is death sentence, right? Death sentence, and it's something quite serious. And in Malaysia, I don't know what's the penalty, but I know it's a very serious case as well. Are there other cases in JB? Let's take a look, shall we? Around August, I think, there is a man that was arrested to the kidnapping of a 6-year-old girl, and he has abducted and allegedly sexually assaulted the 6-year-old girl, and he was being arrested. So this was another case. I will not go to the detail, but certainly this is quite a case of concern because it involved a minor. Another case in August, there is 4 suspected kidnappers shot dead in Skudai by the Malaysian police. Let's take a look at this case. So the Malaysian police successfully stopped the kidnappers and shot dead 4 individuals during operation in Skudai. Skudai is somewhere in Johor. In the same operation, the police arrested 4 more individuals, a woman aged between 25 to 43 in the district. The group has been suspected being involved in the kidnapping of a Chinese national and a local woman near Maju Expressway Toll Plaza and Cyberjaya. Okay, Both victims were released in the evening of 15th of July by the roadside of the Pedas Lingi route in Negeri Sembilan after the brother, the Chinese national, paid a ransom in cryptocurrency amounting to $1 million US. So it's also a lot of money. And this one involved Chinese, right? So Chinese are purported to be very rich and things like that. So, kena targeted. Another case, there's a Singapore man suffered some injury, lost two teeth in the rescue of his son from JB kidnappers. This happened late last year. A Singapore man lost two teeth and suffered injuries to his face, arms while attempting to take his 7-year-old son back from kidnappers. So a CCTV showed that, while his two children were playing, a car drove up. A man with a dark color shirt rushed out and tried to carry the boy. And I think the father went on, put up a fight and rescued the boy. So Mr. Lin, which is the Chinese businessman, believed that the kidnapper was motivated by greed to carry out a kidnap for ransom scheme. The man has been arrested, and the mechanic who allegedly masterminded the kidnapping is a friend of a business partner, reported by News Straits Times. This case was clearly an insider, and the police actually said that the boy would have been ransomed for about 300,000 ringgit. Now, this amount quite small. In another case, in 2024 June, there were 4 youths aged between 15 and 20 in connection with a kidnapping of 3 teenage boys in Skudai as well, a supermarket. And they have been arrested, and the vehicle believed to be used in the incident was also seized and so on, okay? And they'll be remanded, blah, blah, blah. So if you can see, there are cases of kidnapping in Malaysia, not trivial. And this is also a point of concern. If you were to get my reflection on all these cases, I'll give you my reflection right now. So my reflection of the case that happened over the last 2 days is, if I have that amount of wealth as a property developer, in Malaysia, I think I'll get bodyguards. Okay, I'll get bodyguards of some form of protection. Malaysia, yeah, arguably probably need some protection if you are well-to-do. In Singapore, I think very, very wealthy people also got bodyguards. Don't say Singapore very safe. In Singapore is so safe, the ministers all got bodyguards and prime ministers bodyguards as well, right? So at some level, when you are a certain level of prominence and wealth, I think to get bodyguards is quite common, right? This is something I know it's possible. I will personally apply for a pistol, okay? In Malaysia, it's possible. I don't know what it takes, but I know of people who have a personal pistol. I think I, in fact, know quite a few of them, okay? Or at least the armed guard of some form, right? So bodyguards or a personal pistol for protection. And certainly this is something quite important. I suppose not everybody is used to this in Singapore, but if I have the kind of wealth and the kind of stature, if I know I'm personal risk, I will at least get some form of a protection. Okay, I'm certainly going to stay only in gated and guarded places. I don't know whether the Chinese businessman that was kidnapped at his house outside was in a gated and guarded place. Okay, but I think in a gated and guarded place is a lot safer, because I don't know how this is going to happen in my compound. There were 2 security there, and unless your car is specifically registered, it's actually quite difficult to go through. Okay, in the 165 chat group, there is quite a lot of chatter on this, as some of the Singaporeans speak as if every Singaporean is being targeted and things like that. I don't know how to say this without insulting some of the Singaporeans, but I will just say this. If you look at the cases and things like that, I think for ordinary Singaporeans, if you're driving in just to buy shopping, tour, holiday a little bit and go back and things like that, and if your wealth level is not as prominent as that gentleman who was got kidnapped, I'm sorry, I don't think you qualify to be a target. You need to have certain level of wealth. I think nowadays, not just goods and services has inflation. I think ransom also have inflation, right? If you can see. If you are nobody and they kidnap you and found that you don't have much money, I think they will waste their effort. Of course, this is something, when I say it's very controversial, not meant to be insulting, but I think, quite a lot of us don't qualify to be a juicy target. I think there are some things you also want to be careful of. Don't let people know your travel schedule, where you go, not just for Malaysia. And when I go overseas to Europe or whatever, it's also very dangerous there. I never tell people where I go. When people ask me, I just say go Europe. Europe where? Europe so big, right? But Italy where, France where, Spain where, Portugal where, nobody knows where I'm going. And I think that's very important, except maybe my immediate family. don't have a pattern as well. Oh, morning, I wake up at this time, I go for a jog, come back. Regularity is quite dangerous, okay, in places like this. I don't have any regularity in my travel pattern as well, especially in Malaysia. To be frank, I don't have much time to spend in Malaysia. I spend most of my time outside Singapore in Europe because of my work. So for those who think that Mr. Lu is being targeted because Mr. Lu is a juicy target, I don't know whether it's true. First of all, my neighbors all drive much bigger cars than me. My house, even after a renovation, looks a lot more rundown than all my neighbors. But let's assume that, Mr. Lu is a juicy target. I think I hardly go to Malaysia. You don't know where I am, so that kind of thing. So I think it's very important, right? Keep your travel schedule a low profile. Don't let people know and things like that. Something interesting about Malaysian generally know how to handle such risk. Singaporeans CAD are all get cold feet, towards this. But I speak to Malaysian, it's just another case and things like that. Okay, I'm not saying that it's not a serious case. I think it's a very serious case. The Malaysia I speak to just seriously just think it's just another case, right? I mean, look at Singaporeans. Singaporeans just see the VEP potentially being stopped and given warning by Malaysian custom officers and things like that. Just knowing of this risk, I think, I don't know, half or three-quarter of the Singaporeans don't feel like going to JB already. So let alone this kind of risk. I think this kind of risk is not trivial, but I think the cases of this kind of thing happening, is not as significant like everyday case, right? I'll just say this, let's admit that crime rate in JB and rest of the world is quite high relative to Singapore. If you can't accept this risk, don't go over. Stay in Singapore, a lot safer. You probably live a happier life. Car thefts, pickpockets, robbery, all this happens globally, and you want to be a lot more careful. If you cannot handle such a risk, then don't expose yourself to such risk. So I think that's quite important. So I would strongly encourage some chatter around this, some discussion around this. I would like the Malaysian fans and the Singapore fans to discuss about this case. Does it mean that Malaysia is no longer a safe place to go? What will you do, knowing now there is a existence of JB kidnapping and things like that? The last departing point I want to give, which is the most important point, is this. Do you realize that in almost all the cases that are highlighted so far, the police always arrest the kidnappers? The kidnappers are always being arrested. The Malaysian police is amazingly efficient from my observation. It's a question probably 要还是不要, is one or the one to chase. Right? In most of these cases where it's serious, the Malaysian police are actually hunted down. I'm not trying to compare Singapore and Malaysian police. The Malaysian police are probably more in a difficult ground and they have hardened themselves. They got a lot more savvy. And don't forget, Mas Salamat, the Singapore terrorist that has escaped our prison, was arrested by the Malaysian police. Okay, so it was a difficult case to find, but they arrested him. So this part, I actually take some comfort that Malaysian police is actually quite efficient, right? So I think we should also take a point of notice on this one as well. Okay, thank you, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye-bye.